Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Sisters of Legacy. We are going to run our intro and we will be right back. All right, guys, we are back. So, welcome this week. If you're watching us in real time or if you're watching a replay, we definitely appreciate your time. Tonight, our third is back. Last week, she was outside, but she's back tonight. So, we got Vanessa Fields.
Hey.
And she live. And Shanetta McNair.
Hello.
All right, guys. So we are Sisters of Legacy. We do come on typically every Thursday at 8 p.m. And we try to come up with topics that will make you think. So tonight, I have a topic, per usual. Um, okay, what? You can't text me when I'm doing this. I'm sorry. You know, my brain be struggling doing too many things. So tonight, our topic is gratitude a life sentence? And just to elaborate, or kind of give you a little background. So, oftentimes we do things for people, we're there for people, we're reliable, we're trustworthy, we're the shoulder to lean on, uh, we got deep pockets, all of the many things that we do for people. We're always talking them off a ledge. We might be a travel buddy, we might be a TV buddy, whatever it is. We're there for people in so many different ways. And sometimes in those relationships, there's, let's just say, like a breakdown, or there's a bump in the road, or there's a speed bump, or it could be a pothole, a really big one. And oftentimes I have found or discovered that when that happens, the person that's always there, the person that's always done, sometimes they feel like they're owed some gratitude. Like, I'm sure you've heard people say, you're ungrateful. And sometimes you think, like, is it really ungrateful? Or how long am I supposed to be grateful for something you did? Like, okay, when we was in college in our 20s, you held me down. Now we 40. Is there an expiration date, or am I stuck showing you gratitude forever? Is gratitude a blank check? Like, can you just, okay, well, I did that for you, so I'm expecting you to do these things, so I'm expecting you to be there, or I'm expecting you to do this. Is there an expiration date on it? How long are we supposed to be grateful or show gratitude for something? And are there limits to it? So I figure, what better place to talk about it than with the ladies? So, ladies,
Ah, sorry.
okay, one of y'all jump in. Come on.
So
Go ahead. Go ahead.
um I think about that a lot. Like, and it doesn't even have to be on the grand scale of doing something super amazing for somebody. Just
Right.
like, you hold a door for somebody, you let somebody get in front of you. I'd be like, oh, you're not gonna wave, you're not gonna acknowledge my act of kindness.
Right.
Like, really, you disrespectful. So I think about that a lot. Um, but even in a grand, like, somebody's done something really great for you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I will definitely share and show my appreciation. Am I going to allow whatever it is that you did to hold me hostage to where I feel like, I'm your little, what they call them, a simp or something, your little bookie, lackey or whatever. I don't know. I walk around carrying, carrying all your stuff, or, like, catering to you, or out of the gratitude feel a huge obligation to do things that I may not be completely comfortable with. Because you did whatever you did for me, I am greatly appreciative and I thank you. Am I going to let that be like a carrot dangling, in front of me, or holding that over my head to say that, oh, I could never not do or say because, back in 1980, you gave me a kidney, and now you're a real jerk. But because you gave me that kidney back then, I still got to rock with you. And, I ain't gonna let nobody say nothing bad about you. And, because no, I think when you do things, whatever place that you did it from in that moment, that's what it is. And now it's in the past because you did it. So yeah, get over yourself and stop, feeling that super obligation. So I think, you do things, your heart and your motive should be correct.
Right.
On the receiving end, that obligation sometimes I think, we may take it too far. Like you hear parents say, I brought you in this world, not take you out. You weren't grateful. You don't, but that's not, for me, that's not why I do all of the things that I do. I don't expect anything in return, so that I don't have to want to fight anybody, get crazy, so you just do it out of the, kindness of your heart, or whatever place it comes from, and just keep it moving. But if I let you in front of me, you need to wave, you need to acknowledge me, some eye contact, something.
Okay.
I don't disagree with you. I feel like I need my wave. Next time I'm not gonna let the next car in because that last car didn't give me my wave. I need my wave. Like, acknowledge me.
Yeah. You still be sitting there if I didn't stop for you.
Because you're gonna ruin it for everyone.
Now I can't be great. I can't be the best version of me.
Can't do it. Cannot do it. I feel like Vanessa took everything that I just wrote down in my little handy dandy notebook. She said literally,
because you be on here and you're saying a whole lot of stuff, and I'd be like, dang, I wish.
I feel like literally like you went in my head and got all the thoughts, and it was just kind of like literally looking for someone to show you gratitude means that you did whatever you did with the wrong attitude. Like you approached it wrong because you're looking for a response. You're looking for a reward or some type of acknowledgement. And that's just not the way of love or kindness or even graciousness. So I feel like nobody owes you anything, and people move about in this world too often thinking that people owe them something. And one of the key things that we have to understand is that nobody owes you anything. Right. If anything, you owe to yourself to be kind to you, but nobody owes you a thing. And having that type of air about yourself, having that type of just arrogance, I guess, about yourself that someone owes you something is probably what's going to get you in places where you really don't want to be. So I think that's definitely key. Now I do feel like there are moments like, I mean, with your children, I think it's different when you're raising kids and you're teaching them things and you notice that your kids move about in an ungrateful manner, you do have to acknowledge that, call that out, and teach it because they're children. And if you don't do it, who else is going to teach them that? Because then they're going to move about in this world in, I guess, a manner where they think things are owed to them because nobody has ever taught them to be grateful for what they have or to show gratefulness when someone does something for them. So I do think it's different when we're talking about raising our children versus when we're talking about adult relationships where, well, I lent you $100 last year. You should be grateful to me. You should act better. You should be more, gracious when I walk into a room. Because I mean, if it wasn't for me, your lights wouldn't have been on 12 months ago. Like, ma'am, calm down. Because I would have sat in the dark for a couple of days and then got them lights cut back on somehow or another. So, like, calm down. Like, bring that down a little bit. But I do think that it's just, I don't know, people just walking around thinking somebody owes something to them in any form just rubs me the wrong way, because nobody owes you anything. And you have to, like, as adults, yeah, you need to figure that out. I don't have to let you in front of me. So yes, you should wave and tell me thank you, you know, when I let you in. However, if you don't, I'm not gonna hit
Right.
the back of your car.
Right.
I would hope not.
Roll down the window. Hey, listen, Jack, there ain't nothing but a slice of cheese without the corners. Kevin Hart, don't worry about it. You know, I'm all over the place. Like a sleep deprivation.
Okay, so Shanetta, you mentioned the kids. So do your kids owe you a lifetime of gratitude? So, like, you know,
Absolutely. I gave birth to you.
Positively. Positively. Maybe not the whole life, but most of it.
Okay, so since both of you said absolutely, right? So let's flip that. So you owe your parents a lifetime of gratitude?
I definitely would do the majority of what I could do for in any situation. Yeah, well, you know, I mean, like, I'm thinking, like, you know,
right,
you know,
like, right, yeah. I don't know.
Right. I do feel like, for me personally, I do feel an overwhelming sense to make sure that if she ever really needed anything, that I was there to provide, because she's always done that for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's, I guess for me, it would be, you know, more of a reciprocation situation. Because if my mother was like super raggedy, like, girl, bye, get out of here, beat it. Sorry, not sorry.
And I jokingly say that I think the kids owe me a lifetime of gratitude, but as my kids have aged into adulthood, that's one of the things that I think that I have learned, is that they don't owe me anything. Yes, I want them to respect me. Yes, I would like for them to respond when I request things, but I also try not to hold being their mother over their head in their adult lives.
Okay.
Because they do have to kind of build their own lives and kind of find themselves and figure out who they want to be and how they want to move about in this world. And if I'm constantly trying to hinder that, that's stopping the progress that they're making as adults.
Right.
So I don't want to hinder their growth as adults either, and their independence, because I'm their mother. And like I said, you must do this and you must do that. No, our oldest or second oldest, he's married. And so, like, his obligation is to his family that he created. It's not to the family he was born from anymore. Now, if I ask him to do something or can he participate in something, I do want him there. But if he's not able to because the family that he created comes first, I want him to focus on the family that he created. He has to focus on his wife and his children. And I may not always like that, but he doesn't owe me anything.
Okay.
He has to make choices that are good for him and his family. And sometimes that means telling mom, no, I can't do that. Now, he would never be like, Mom, no, I can't do that. He would say it in the most gentlest, kindest, most loving way, because that's to his core and to his heart. That's really who he is. He's goofy, he's silly, but he's not going to ever be disrespectful with his no.
Right.
He's going to be like, Mom, I'm not sure I can do that. Let me let you know. Let me get back with you. You know, and it just is what it is. So seeing him be an adult and seeing my others progress into their own adulthood, I know that there are going to be things that they can't do that mom really, really, really wants them to do. But like, now, if you come at me in a disrespectful way, I definitely gave you life and I will take it all away in the blink of an eye. If you try me, don't try me. However, they won't try me. So I think they know better. Only that girl be trying stuff. But
don't talk about my friend when she's not here to defend herself. Don't talk about my friend. Don't talk about my friend like that.
They know better. That girl though, she be like, listen, I have to remind her often. Like, just for no reason. I might have to wake up on a particular morning and just be like, hey, don't start none, won't be none. She be like, I ain't even saying that. I ain't even awake today. What are you talking about? But, you know.
I got you. So, like, I had, and I'm gonna say had because that relationship is no longer alive. It has died. I have buried it, burned it,
Hmm.
Oh my.
all of those things. But I had a
You
relationship
tell.
with someone, and like not like a romantic relationship, of course, because I have a whole husband. But I had a relationship with somebody, and a large part of it was based on things they felt they'd done for me. Now, did they do those things? Yes and no. Um, and some of those things was like you did it, and yes, I was a recipient, but it was the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it wasn't me, it still would have been the right thing to do.
Right.
But anyway, but for years, that kind of was like that person pushing the envelope, like always wanting more, always wanting me to do something, always wanting me to far outstretch, my capacity as it pertains to them. And this went on for like a very long time. And, I did it because I felt like, I needed to be grateful for some things. But like, it was like a life sentence. Like I literally felt like, any time that I couldn't or wouldn't do something, it was almost like, like a
Believe you wouldn't do what I needed you to
right
do when I needed you to do it, how I wanted you to do it.
when I wanted you to do it too.
Right.
Right now, in the middle of whatever. Yes,
Right.
absolutely, absolutely.
And I feel like that's just like that type of attitude is almost like the person that's holding someone else hostage is what I'm going to say in that
Mhm.
manner. Their approach to doing things for others is wrong. I think about, so I when you sent the topic, and I was trying to kind of like wrap my brain around the topic, I was talking out loud and like saying some stuff out loud, and I was saying to Mike that I can remember a situation where we had 5 kids. So people would constantly think that we needed clothes. We did not, it wasn't like we could go buy clothes if we needed to, like, right?
Right.
But people will constantly think, oh, they got 5 kids. Clearly they need, this bag of clothes that I have
Right.
that my kids have outgrown. Cool, thank you. And when we would get them, we would go through, whatever we would get, and whatever was good, that we could use
Mhm.
for our kids. Absolutely. We had no problem
Absolutely.
with
Right.
any. And whatever we felt like we didn't need, we'd pass on, or, depending on what, do whatever was needed with it. But this one particular time, this one particular person gave one shirt. Now, there was one particular person from church, literally her kids were like maybe 2 or 3 years older than my boys.
Mhm.
And she would give us, when I say some amazing clothes for our kids sometimes, and it would just be like, wow, I can't believe she even giving this away. Like, this item probably cost $60 for this one thing, and she giving
Right.
it to my little boys who like to play in the dirt all the time. And I'm like, whoa, that's kind of nice. But this one particular person, she gave one shirt. I kid you not, one shirt. And so it was a nice little shirt. One of the boys wore the shirt. And when I say to you that her son, because of what he had been taught, was like, oh, my mom gave you that shirt, and like went in like in front of other people. And I said to myself that day, I said, never again. And so when she offered something else
She
after
would have
that,
said to herself, never again.
I was
I
like,
know that's right.
absolutely not. Like,
I wish
no,
you would.
no, thank you. We're good. No, do we want to come over to your house for dinner? No.
Right.
Do we want to come to your son's birthday? No.
Right.
No. Nope. Because you will never put my kids in a position
Right.
again where in front of other people you're making it seem like you're better than us because you gave us something. You'll never do that again. ever. And I felt like they had kind of like an approach of, you owe me your gratitude. So it was like,
Right.
oh, every time he wears this shirt, he's supposed to be like, oh my God, thank you so much for giving me this shirt. I wouldn't have had any other shirts to wear. I would have been walking around shirtless and naked had you not given me one shirt. Like, girl, if you don't get somewhere, you and your little son that you're raising wrong, go somewhere. Get somewhere with that, because that's never going to happen, ever. My kids didn't even know half the time when somebody gave them stuff.
Right.
So it would just be like, oh, like they were like, oh, a shirt. Put it on. It's in the closet.
Absolutely.
Wear it.
Right.
So I think people who are like that and people who raise their children to be like that, they create problems for other people because nobody owes you anything. Like, thank you.
Right.
That was nice. I'm glad you had the kindness in your heart to do it. But was it truly kindness, or were you trying to show pity upon someone when you were doing it? Because if it was pity, you're looking for acknowledgement. You're looking to be put in the grand spotlight of the blesser of the clothing, or the blesser of the food baskets, or the blesser of all the things. Like, no, God gets the glory. You don't. Have a nice day. So
Have a day.
right, have the day you deserve.
Have the day. Hashtag have the day that you deserve. I might tell somebody that tomorrow.
So let me ask you a question. So, like, we talk about raising kids. So when you're raising your kids, and when people give your kids things, if it's a birthday gift or whatever, you always like, say thank you. You want them to be appreciative. But like, so have you taught your? Well, I mean, y'all got like grown kids. So in the process, like, did you teach your kids like, you don't let people hold things over your head? You say thank you, you move on. Like, was that ever a lesson that you found yourself teaching your children? Or is it just over time, they figured it out or they worked it out or whatever?
I feel like it's a combination of both.
You said what?
A combination of both, teaching it to them directly, saying it directly, like, hey, like you said, thank you. That's all you can do. Like, it's nothing more. Like, we're not giving our blood because you did something for us. But also letting them see that there are people that will expect you to be forever grateful to them. And once you've said thank you, like, what else can you do?
Right. Okay. Was that any harder to teach? Well, I'm sorry, Vanessa, you can't answer this question. But Shanetta, was it harder to teach a girl versus a boy? That's why. Don't be making them faces.
I would have to say absolutely, because she experienced wanting to please people.
Right.
And wanting to make other people happy. And it's still a journey, even having conversations with her now as a young woman in her 20s, and letting her know and reassuring her that she's moving the right way and that she doesn't owe anyone anything. So like, okay, yeah, you did something for me. Thank you for doing that. But that's that.
Right.
You're not, because I think that when people don't learn that at a young age, especially girls, they end up in relationships where they feel like they owe a man something. And what I think I want her to know, and what I want her to learn in her friendships and in her early relationships, is that you don't owe them your body. You don't owe them your time. You don't owe them a relationship. Like, if they do something for you, that's nice. Be appreciative, be grateful. But if someone is trying to hold something over your head and they've given you a tangible gift, give it back.
Right.
Give it back. You want to hold this over my head? You keep talking about this little purse you bought me for my birthday. Have it.
Yep.
Have it. I don't want the purse no more. If it means that much to you that you have to keep bringing it up and it's tangible, you can have it back. I don't need it that much. And I think I want her to be strong enough to know that, especially in her 20s, because I think that that's a time of really forming how you create and make relationships that are lasting or not lasting.
Okay. And the boys are kind of like, yeah, you gave it to me, thanks, I'm out, like that deal.
That youngest one will take all his stuff back if he gives you something. He'll have.
What?
I'm gonna tell a quick story with him. He had a girlfriend. They broke up,
Oh,
and he
oh,
told her drop all my stuff off
Yep.
at my house. I opened the door one day and it was a box of stuff.
oh
He
my
like, give me my stuff back. So if anybody ever crossed that youngest one in the wrong way, just know you need to give him all his stuff back because
Repo.
he plays no game.
Listen, I remember once being a teenager and I was involved with this person and he had this item, and we involved, so I'm wearing the item. We weren't involved anymore and he wanted it back. And I felt like he was gonna give it to someone else. So I set the sleeve on fire.
You can have it
And
back
then
in 1,000 pieces.
And then I gave it back.
Yep.
I did give it back though.
Nobody's going to use it.
I did give it back, but I
gave it back.
I was young. I can admit I was young, but I just could not stand to watch somebody else. I couldn't. I gave it back. It just was never to be used again because I set that sucker on fire.
I thought about when you mentioned pocketbooks. I love pocketbooks. You say whatever you want. You ain't finna get this bag back. Not the bags that
And I
I
don't owe you nothing.
I don't owe you nothing. You better get out of my face.
Okay, so neither one of you don't have a friend. Yeah, let's just say a friend. You don't have a friend that you feel like, oh, I owe them. Like they could call you and ask you for anything. You're like, because it's you, I'll do it because I don't know. You let me ride your back around the truck or whatever. I don't know anything. Like, so there's no.
For me, it's my disposition. Like, it's not necessarily because you've done something so amazing for me that I feel like I have to. It is my disposition and I'm working on it. But I am always, not always, but I'll do, because I'm sitting here and I'm conflicted in my head, like, girl, you be trying, but you still be like, and they come, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. God, y'all get on my nerves. But like for me, that is my posture. That is just my disposition to, for certain people, for certain relationships to go above and beyond. And it's not necessarily because you've done something so amazing that, I just can't live with the thought of you being upset because I didn't do, give, be, or what have you.
Okay. Shanetta?
I would agree with that too. It's like, it's just some people that they just touch my heart in a way that I probably won't say no to them versus, you know my life, how I am. But there are people that have done things for me over the years and they're not trying to hold it over my head in a negative way. And because I know all that they've invested in me, when they come to me and they're like, hey, I need something from you. And they're not coming to me like, you owe me this. You got to do this for me. Because as soon as you start telling me what I got to do, there's something deep down within me that just rises up with the whole,
That's
you got to. You can't talk to me like that. Like, you can't come at me with telling me what I gotta do, because when you start telling me I gotta do something, I owe you, like, I'm telling you, like, I just be like, oh, really now? Well, let me know how that work out for you. So you can't come at me like that. You have to come at me like in a, hey, can you do this for me? Because when you come at me at that way, and I know all that you've done for me, I'm more willing to like be like, yeah, I might even tell you no, and still like in the background start trying to, figure it out and work it out to see how I can make certain things happen. Now, if you ever coming at me with a whole, I'm obligated and I gotta, you are very much so gonna run up against a brick wall every time, because even like McNair can say certain things to me that I gotta do, but I think he knows how to, approach things when he really want to make me do something. He know he can't be like, well, you gotta, because I'm the man, and da 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 da. Because I'll tell you the man all day long. However, sir, don't tell me what I gotta do. Don't do it like that. Like, you got to do it differently, because I love you and like I really want you to be happy and all the things, but like you can't make me feel like I owe you nothing. You're gonna have to, approach it. And if you really do believe I owe you, like, that's fine. Believe that in your heart and your soul, but don't come at me with that
Don't
energy.
let it come out your mouth. Keep it in your heart and your soul.
Yep.
You okay?
Because maybe I do owe you, like, for real. Maybe I owe you a favor. But it's all an approach.
Today is not the day that you're going to get that favor. I see that cartoon where they throw out the sign that say close and they pull a thing. We are not open for business now. Sorry. Out of order.
I can tell by your face this is not going the way you play.
Let her know. I mean, listen, I'm okay. Either way, it's just sometimes it's hard to have a follow-up based on how you guys respond. So like that's where the pauses come in. That's all it is. It's not.
Well, I did want to say, when you were asking about whether you had to teach your children those things, like, for me, like, my kids grew up with my dad, and so gratitude was our way of life. He was always giving, they were always doing, and I think that's part of why I be doing and giving even when I don't want to do and I don't want to give. I just feel like that's the way that I grew up. So that example has really stuck with me to the point where my children do some of the same things with the giving, and they be, that's my stuff. You ain't got nothing to give nobody. What are you doing? But
nothing.
They somebody spending the night, somebody coming over for dinner, somebody, oh my, they love your cooking. Yeah, well, that's good. You ain't got no food at your house. Like, why are you still here? So and my dad, cooking, giving, doing, like, that was his way of life, and it was nothing for him to do anything. You knew, he would never be like, you better, I need, so it has always been like, he's always been that exemplary situation where it was like, nobody owes me anything. I did that because that was right, or that's what I felt in my heart to do. So for me, it was just really like watching and living in this world where that was just who he was and what he did.
Yeah.
Gotcha. It's crazy because I find like, so like I can give to people all day. I can do things for people, but it's something about when somebody else, it doesn't even have, it's not like the recipient, like when just an outside person try to convince me why I should do something, I automatically rebel. I don't know what it is. Like, even if I was planning to do it, if you start trying to convince me why I should do it, or try to, psychoanalyze the fact that I'm not doing it, like, immediately I'm out. I'm not doing it. Now I'm not doing it. And like, I don't know what that's about. Normally, I'm pretty good with giving people stuff and doing people stuff, and often I overextend myself. And it's not really about gratefulness. Sometimes I get wrapped up in my head in that whole treat people the way you want them, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Sometimes I get stuck on that, and I be like, there got to be another scripture that balances this out, because the whole do unto them as you would have them do unto you, that's very one-sided. That's not. There's no reciprocity in that scripture. Like, I can just do unto you and you can just cut the monkey, and that's just how it works. So I often get stuck on that space, the do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Not really like do it to them and they're gonna do it back to you. No, no, no. It's just as you would like for them. You know, you might be thinking you want them to do it unto you. I get stuck there often.
I'm more selective in who I do and what I do as I get older. Um, you know, and it's like, that same thing about all of the lessons that I've learned from my parents. Those morals and values sometimes put me in situations that, I wish, I could have really had the fortitude or the backbone to be like, no.
But
Um, and so I've done a lot of things, but even in that instance, it's like now I'm thinking about what the repercussions of the situation might be if I do this thing, or if I don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, oh well, like my kids when they were younger, somebody want to come spend the night, and or something happened in their family as teenagers, they done got kicked out, they mom done locked the door and they can't get in, and they at my house, and in my head I'd be like, well, whose house can you go to, son? To have dinner, or to spend the night if you know what I'm saying? So like these are like, how come I'm the one who's always like, I am one of the ones who is like, my kids, even like Christian will be like, I appreciate when you take me here, or when my friends want to do something, you the one who always got to go and get them, and you always got to be the one to drive everybody around, and this, that, and the third, and I'm always plagued. Y'all pray for me, please. Get this off of me. With that do good, like.
right.
But as I get older, like I said, I'm trying to be more spoiled, if you will. Yeah. There you go.
Listen, you gotta. I have figured out ways to snap myself back into reality. So you know how like you call people, and sometimes you call people and you're like, I was such and such wanting me to do whatever, and they'd be like, girl, I wouldn't. I'd be like, you know what? I'm not. You were so right. Like,
Yeah.
for real. And
Yeah.
I'd be like, you were so right. Like I got Shanetta like that, like last week before. I called her about something and I was like I didn't want to do it. But there was a part of me that's like, oh, do it because it's this. And I called her and she was like, nope, they got it, don't do it. And I said, she's right. Like I ain't even tell her. I know now she thinking,
I'm like, what did we talk about?
yeah, she trying to think of what it is. But as soon as she was like, nope, well then don't do it. And I was like, she right. Shanetta said.
I don't even know, whoever it is, whatever it is. I don't know what I convinced her not to do.
And you know what? That you say that, like that is a real thing.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Where you just be like, why should I feel obligated to do anything? Like the world owes you nothing. You know what I'm saying? And so like that is something that like I kind of put in the front of my mind. I decide things that I'm gonna do and I'm not gonna do, because it's yes, and again, you've been raised with these morals and values, or they've developed over the years, and so you overextend, or you doing and saying and being and all of that. But at some point, you got to kind of put it in perspective, and then people will expect that from you, and then that becomes an obligation to where, well, you did it for so, or well, last time I asked you, that was last time. Today, we're not doing it. You're gonna have the day that you deserve today.
Right.
You don't get anything.
And I have definitely heard those words. Like you did it before. It ain't that big of a deal. Well, then it shouldn't be a big deal. I'm not doing it this time.
Yeah.
Like
I think too many people have they look for you to be the good person for them in every situation. And not that you're being a bad person by telling them no or by not doing something, but they're like, because you're such a good person, I know you're going to do this for me
Right.
the way I expect. So it's like a sense of obligation that they've created for you.
Right. Exactly.
It's not even anything that you agreed to. They're like, well, you did it this time and you did it last time, and you're always doing this for this person. So clearly you're going to do it for me too. And they create this sense of obligation for you that you haven't even committed to. You don't know my life. You don't know what I got going on. You don't know what I'm struggling with on the inside. Like,
it's the audacity.
You don't know if I'm able to even do this. And you have obligated me to something that you haven't even asked me for my commitment to, because you've assumed the type of person that I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So yes, listen, if you're watching us on a replay, please know and understand that you do not owe anybody a lifetime of gratitude. We do what we can. I know somebody who used to always say, I'll do what I can, but I won't do what I can't. And I just feel like, what? That don't even make sense. If you can't do it, you can't do it. But over time, I learned to understand that. You do what you can, but you just can't do what you can't do. And sometimes that has to be okay. We want to be grateful, for the things that people have done for us, for the things that people have given us, and we want to be appreciative. And maybe appreciative is a better word. We want to be appreciative to people for their time, for their energy, for their love, their prayers, all those great things. But please know, you don't owe anybody anything. You owe it to yourself to be the best version of yourself and strive to do what is right. You owe you. You don't owe everybody else. Again, we hope that this conversation, at the very least, sparks a thought, starts a conversation in your home, at your job, with your friends, in a text thread. Always be grateful. Always say thank you. Be appreciative, because nobody owes you, and you don't owe anybody either. But nobody owes you. So when somebody does something out of the blue, appreciate it. Say thank you and really appreciate it. And sometimes pay it forward. Somebody bought you lunch, buy somebody else lunch. Like, pay it forward. That's a sign of gratefulness too. I'm grateful that this happened for me, so I'm going to make it happen for somebody else. Again, we are on every Thursday at 8 p.m. Before the month is out, we will be having a show on breast cancer. Being that this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we are going to talk about it. But we want to make sure we have someone that can speak to the experience and not us with just our thoughts. So thank you for tuning in.
And she has tuned out. Goodness.
Thank you for tuning in.
Okay. Thank you.